Hello and welcome to Sharing the Light, and I'm Reverend Griffin. Sharing the Light is an online ministry opportunity of the Sunshine Cathedral located here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Hello and welcome to Sharing the Light, and I'm Reverend Griffin here at the Sunshine Cathedral in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we want to welcome you today. Today we're focusing in on the topic of liberty and justice for all as we are centering around the 4th of July here in the United States for 2009. And so today we're going to be talking with our senior pastor, the Reverend Dr. Durrell Watkins of the Sunshine Cathedral, on this topic of liberty and justice for all. So, Pastor, how do you begin to define liberty and justice for all, and what is that liberty and justice all about in 2009?
Well, this is sort of a strange topic, I think, because it's, we're in the religion business, and this liberty and justice for all is actually a phrase in the pledge that we take nationally. Those of us who are citizens of the United States, we grow up in public schools and ball games and whatever, saying this pledge of allegiance to the flag that represents the republic, and the last line of that pledge is with liberty and justice for all. So this is sort of a civics kind of topic, and we don't normally get into those kinds of things. We'll talk about political and social things when there are justice issues, because we believe that religion should promote inclusion and justice for all.
Right.
And so this is one of those times where the areas sort of overlap, and I think appropriately so, because there is not yet liberty and justice for all, and yet we take a pledge saying that that is a value we have as citizens of this country. And then those of us who are practitioners of progressive religion also think that there should be liberty and justice for all. This is a part of the American myth that we exist really out of this longing for justice and liberty and freedom and self-determination and all that sort of thing. That's part of our story, that's part of our history, that's part of our consciousness. And yet we've never really lived into that totally. So it's been this beautiful idea that we get ever closer to, but it's still a little beyond our grasp. So some of the people who started this great experiment, this great democracy, in fact, were slaveholders. Well, that creates some cognitive dissonance for some of us, and it took a while before we universally agreed that slavery is a horrible evil and is unacceptable. The people who signed the Declaration of Independence and the first Constitution, they were all men. And women didn't get the right to vote in this country until my grandmother was an infant. I mean, so as recently as that, could women even vote? Now we have our third woman Secretary of State. Right. And women run for president and vice president and that sort of thing now, but we have women on the Supreme Court. But less than a century ago, they couldn't even vote. And so we get a little closer. In World War II, when my parents were children, were very young, Japanese Americans were put in internment camps because of their ethnicity, because we were at war with Japan. And so even though these Japanese Americans, they were Americans, but because their ancestors, their parents or grandparents or great-grandparents had come from a place that we now had a political conflict with, they were basically imprisoned. They were put in prison camps. They lost their property, their savings, their liberty. And that was, again, in my parents' lifetime. And now, in our lifetime, we see state by state dealing with the issue of discrimination against same-gender loving people. There are those states, currently 6, as we're taping today. There are 6 states, 5 of the 6 New England states, and then Iowa. 6 states that have marriage equality, that allow gay marriage. There are other states, none of the others have it, there are some who are debating it, but not only do none of the other states have it, there are some states that have put in their state constitutions that they won't have it and they won't recognize marriages from other places that do have it. So that's sort of the hot topic right now is, can we discriminate against, we have a new group of people who are, we're debating about, are they fully human? Do they have, should they be part of the all that enjoy liberty and justice in this country, that pledges, that says it is our part of who we are to seek liberty and justice for all. So as we're thinking about Independence Day, as we're thinking about American history, as we're thinking about the values that we affirm, I think it's important that, one, we lift up the sort of the credo, that we believe in liberty and justice for all, that we lift that up, and that we also acknowledge that we have fallen short of that goal from the beginning, and along the way we have made progress toward it, but we've got more progress to make.
What would you say specifically in context, and you outlined the whole kind of gay movement as it stands right now for this particular time frame, but what would you encourage people to do now to focus on areas of liberty and justice, whether that be either politically and or spiritually, because we've heard the phrase often that liberty and justice at the expense of another's oppression really is not liberty and justice. So what is our challenge for the day as we focus on this topic?
Right. Well, Dr. King said, injustice for anyone is injustice for everyone. So there's no such. So it's to have liberty and justice. It has to be liberty and justice for all. And so while we're debating about, well, but does it mean those people? Does it mean that community? Does it mean these individuals? It's sort of a sad debate, because none of us are as free as we deserve to be until everyone has that experience of liberty and justice for all. So first of all, I think we should focus on that truth, that again, to quote Dr. King, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. That injustice anywhere,
injustice everywhere.
Yes, and then and it is our affirmation that we want liberty and justice for all. So I think, first of all, we just need to get that into our consciousness, because if we really get it, then someone we know will really get it. And one person, they'll tell two people, and they'll tell two people, and that's how it spreads. The other thing I think we can do and should do is we've just got to come out. Whether we are gay or bisexual or lesbian or transgender, or if we are the parents of gay people or the friends of gay people, I think we just have to come out and say, these are people who are in our lives, these are people that we love, these are people who we want to have the full experience of liberty and justice. So whether it is our issue or the issue of our loved ones, I think we have to come out. And if we will just focus on this, the affirmation of liberty and justice for all, and come out about who we are, then I think that continues pushing the envelope in the right direction. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
And I think as we do that, we find ourselves being liberated and find justice within ourselves, which kind of seems to be our overarching theme as well. So thank you. And thank you for joining us today here on Sharing the Light. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please visit us on our website at www.sunshinecathedral.org, or write to me with your questions or comments at robert@sunshinecathedral.org. And now for our final word from our senior minister, Reverend Durrell Watkins.
We're so glad you were with us today. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Sharing the Light. If you're ever in the Fort Lauderdale area, we hope you'll worship with us at 1480 Southwest 9th Avenue. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Sundays. Of course, you can always watch all of our programming and read our literature on the website. You can make prayer requests or donations on the website as well. In any case, we wish you blessings on your journey. Thank you for joining us here on Sharing the Light.